Hey, what's up, YouTube community? This is Ultimate Music Lover, album reviews, unboxings, etc. It's been a long time since I've done any new videos because, well, life happens. Um, I get busy, I end up doing things, and then I forget that this channel exists. And then I'm like, well, you know what? I want to start doing something on it again. So I'm going to post things or try to post new things and just keep it frequent, because I'm here to give opinions on music that I've discovered lately. And well, so far in 2026, it's February 21st from the making of this video. And I've been discovering lots of new music over the course of the last month and a half. So, like, it's been 52 days into 2026, and part of my New Year's resolution is to listen to at least 52 new albums this year, or like one new album a week. Like, I'm trying to aim for one new album a week, but if I don't get one new album a week, then that's at least 52 new albums in 2026, one for every week. So far I've listened to roughly around 25 or 30 albums, and I have a lot of suggestions given to me for, I think I've had 5 or 6 albums that have been suggested to me that I still have to get into, and 4 symphonies that I need to listen to. But I'm starting to get into a bunch of new stuff, like great stuff, stuff from my favorite time period of music that I've been putting off for so long, that I've been waiting anywhere from as little as like 3 to 6 months, or anywhere from like 3 to 5 years to get into, to discover. So we're gonna dive into all this, but this is episode 1. I just thought I would give you all that update. I'm gonna try to keep stuff frequent, even if I just drop a bunch of videos at one time and then go dormant again for a while. I'll try to get a bunch of videos together at some point in like a couple months and then drop more. But this is going to be part of my new musical discovery series, and I'm going to start off with albums that I have on physical formats, and then I'll move into stuff that I've streamed, because my first album, I actually streamed it on Apple Music. I don't have a physical copy of it. And then this was like my anywhere from like my 22nd to 25th or 26th album I discovered, but it's on a physical format. So I'm going to get into stuff that I've discovered on a physical format first, and then we're going to get into this. Anyway, so here's episode 1. Enough of my rambling. So this is an album I discovered recently that I really, really love. It came out in 1995 on Maverick Records, distributed through, I think it was Sire Records or Reprise Records. It was distributed through Reprise Records. Maverick Records was the main label. This is a really fantastic put together record, and I'm talking about Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill. This is a 1995 CD pressing that I bought for $4 at my local record store. Well worth the purchase, because this is how I discovered it. I bought the CD. I was like, okay, I'll see if this album's any good. And I listened to it, and I love this album. In fact, the last couple of weeks, it's been a frequent repeat. I love this. Yeah, so let's talk about it. Well, before Alanis Morissette released this record, she had 2 dance records. I forgot what the second one was called, but the first one was a self-titled dance record. She had 2 dance records, and they were only released in Canada. So Jagged Little Pill was the first album to be released throughout the entire world. And so this was like the whole world's first look at Alanis Morissette, which is a completely different shift from what she did. She went from doing jazz records to making an alternative rock record. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, let's talk about it. So, a quick summary from what I gathered from listening to the album. Well, it sounds to me, anyway, that she spends the entire album being mad at her ex and being mad that a past relationship she was in didn't work out. And then she turns around at the very end and makes a suggestion that's like, well, I wish it worked out and I want it to. So we're going to break it down into each individual song. So All I Really Want, which is the album's opener, you hear one note on harmonica, you hear a concert F, and then it just goes into the guitar with some little lick, and then the whole band comes in. So in All I Really Want, Alanis Morissette just basically gives a rundown of how she wants her life to go. She, like, the way that she wants things to work out in her vision. And when things aren't working out, she kind of gets a little edgy. And she's like, well, why isn't this working out like this? And why am I going ahead and jumping before the gunshot has even gone off? Why am I going to on this little side quest when time is flying before my eyes? You know, she basically is questioning everything she's doing. But then she sits down and she's like, this is what I really want. I don't want to just be spontaneous about everything. Then, in You Oughta Know, well, this is where the whole beginning of being mad at her ex goes. But she's both happy and upset at her ex. Like, the first words she says in You Oughta Know are, I want you to know that I'm happy for you. I wish nothing but the best for you both. And then she turns around and she starts questioning about her ex's significant other that he's currently with. She's like, an older version of me. Is she a perverted like me? Would she go down on you in a theater? Does she speak eloquently? And would she have your baby? Because she would make a really excellent mother. And then this is when she gets mad at her ex and starts spitting out things saying, because the love that you gave, that we made, wasn't able to make it enough for you to be open wide. You know, she's basically saying to expose your feelings. And then she's like, and every time you speak her name, just you know how you told me you hold me till you die, but you're still alive. And I'm here to remind you of the mess you left when you went away. It's not fair to deny me of the cross that I bear that you gave to me. You ought to know. So she's basically, from the front, from the get-go, is just, she's acknowledging how happy she is for him, but at the same time, she's acknowledging how upset she is that he basically turned her back on her and walked away and went with someone else. She's very upset about that. And then when you get to the song Perfect, she's hearing it from two different perspectives. So she's either she's saying be a good boy in one line, then be a good girl. So she's basically trying to speak in both worlds. She's basically saying how each one is supposed to be perfect, or each one's expectations of perfections in other people's eyes. And I think part of the reason she wrote that song is because in the relationship that she was in, she saw how people expected the boyfriend to be perfect. And then she saw how people expected her to be perfect. And that if they were both anything less, then it was all screwed up and that it wasn't going to work out. And then I would say this is my favorite song on the album. After you get past that, you got Hand in My Pocket. I love this song very much. It's such a good song. It's Alanis Morissette basically declaring that even when everything isn't, it's like, I think the best way to put it is it's a point of toxic positivity. Like, she's doing what she can to be positive about everything, but nothing's really seeming to work out. Like when she says, I'm broke, like she wants wealth and money, but then she turns around and says, but I'm happy. I'm poor, but I'm kind. I'm short, but I'm healthy. So like she's acknowledging the good things and she's saying that these are all great things. And then she's acknowledging the negatives, but trying to put them off like they're not happening. So maybe it's not necessarily that, but it seems like that's what she's trying to do. But she's seeing a more positive side of things and saying, but when it all comes down to it, is that everything's going to be fine. And I think the gesture of someone having one hand in their pocket and doing something with the other half is acknowledging to the rest of the world that they're only half present. Like they're not fully present in the moment. They're just somewhat there. Like they're still there. They're still existing. They're still doing this and that, but they're not like fully present in their life. And they don't care what happens to them. That's what I get from it. And I love doing actions. I love following actions with music that I listen to. So I'll never listen to Coldplay's The Scientist ever again without wanting to walk backwards the entire time. Same thing with Alanis Morissette's Hand in My Pocket. Every time that song comes on, I have to put my left hand in my pocket and I gotta use my right hand for doing all the other things, for giving the high five, flicking the cigarette, giving the peace sign, playing the piano, and flagging down a taxi cab. So whatever it is, Alanis Morissette is just trying to get past the negative and acknowledge the positive. Then you get to Right Through You. She's just full-on fledged mad about her ex. She basically exposes everything that's like wrong about him. And then in the song Forgiven, she forgives him for these wrong things and acknowledges some of her flaws. Like, not everything, not as much as she did acknowledge his flaws, but she turns around and she's like, you know what? And the first thing she says is, you know how us Catholic girls can be. We make up for so much time, a little too late. So she's basically saying, like, that she acknowledges that she made mistakes too in the relationship, but now she's just finally acknowledging it when everything is past her. So she's apologizing for not acknowledging it until it's already too late. But she's also forgiving him for all the bad things he's done. And then in the song You Learn, which would be on the second half of the album, on the LP or the tape, You Learn is a song where she talks about, whatever it may be, you live life, you go through all these experiences, and you learn from them. Whether you make mistakes or you end up doing something right, you learn about how to live a great life through all these experiences. And this is where the line, or the title of the album, comes from. It comes from the line in the song, which goes, swallow it down, what a jagged little pill. It feels so good, swimming in your stomach. And so basically, what she's getting at with that whole gesture of swallowing down the jagged little pill and feeling it swim in your stomach is kind of the sickness that comes with making the mistakes, but then learning from them and getting past it. And then in the song Head Over Feet, she is acknowledging that she fell in love with this guy and that he might have not been perfect, but she committed to the relationship, and then to turn around and told him that if something were to happen between us, don't expect me to be there or want to defend you anymore if you hurt me, is basically what she's saying. And so, like, she puts all the blame on him. So even though she forgave him 2 songs ago, she turns back around and Head Over Feet and blames him for all the bad, wrong things. And she's a little bit upset. And because she broke up with him, well, we all know that any breakup is bad for both people. Because both people that were in the relationship learned something but they also wanted the relationship to have worked out. And so in the song Mary Jane, she's singing from the perspective of someone who is, who has eating disorders. It's basically a song for her, because Alanis Morissette had problems with eating disorders herself. So it's either a song for her or it's a song for the other person who might have eating disorders, and basically says that it'll be okay, that none of it's gonna really have an effect on anything for it. Like, because I don't know, but that's some of what the song is. She's telling herself, or the person that she's writing, or to the people that she's writing about, the others who have eating disorders, to just keep trudging on, keep getting help, keep understanding that everything is going to be fine, and that this is not how it's going to be forever. Because an eating disorder just goes beyond from gaining or losing weight. It's way more than that. Is basically, she's acknowledging the fact that she knows it's a mental health condition. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, I still have to like really, really dive deep, because I'm not really a person who analyzes lyrics. I'm up to interpreting lyrics. I don't like go on a deep dive really, unless it's like something that I've really, really focused on. But I do know for a fact that that song is for people that have an eating disorder, and for her as well, because Alanis Morissette has struggled with eating disorders. Then you get into the song Ironic, and this is just like one of those little like fun songs where you get whether they're good or bad examples, you get all these examples of irony. Like rain on your wedding day, the free ride when you've already paid, the good advice you can't take, the black fly in your Chardonnay, the death row pardon 2 minutes too late, traffic jam when you're already late, no smoke sign on your cigarette, 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife, or meeting the man of your dreams and then meeting his beautiful wife. Like, there's so many examples of irony, whether they're good or bad examples in this. It's just kind of one of those fun songs. It's cool. And then for my personal interpretation, Not the Doctor is a song about the time that her ex was cheating on her. Like, this is my theory. This is why I think she is upset about her ex throughout the entire time, and the reason why they broke up. And that the girl that she's being mad at is the one he ended up getting with, that he was cheating on in the first place. Because the chorus of the song is, visiting hours are 9 to 5, and if I show up at 10 past 6, well, I already know that you'll find some way to sneak me in through the door. So it's basically her saying that when she's gone, that the visiting hours for this other person are when she's not here, like when she's off at work or whatever. And then he might get home early from work and then get into some shenanigans with the other person, and then she'll have to leave before Alanis Morissette shows up and is like home and is like, hey babe, what's up? So it's basically a scenario, a cheating scenario, where the person her ex is cheating on is showing up before she gets home. That's my interpretation. That's what I think the song's about. And then I don't know if at the end of the album, the song Wake Up is a figurative form of the word father, like if she's talking about God the Father, or if she's talking about her actual father. But there might be a theory that because everything didn't work out, that Alanis Morissette is kind of mad at God the Father and uses it as an analogy, because she's just like, like if you really were there to not make bad things happen, then why didn't be that? Like, I'm not sure exactly who she's referencing to when she's talking about father. that's a mystery. But Wake Up is basically um, a chance for her to get out of all of these like bad negative feelings that she's been experiencing and to just get into another mindset. And then afterwards, you have a different version of the song You Oughta Know, the Jimmy the Saint blend. It's like a different mix of the song prior to the album's release. Probably it's I think it's the one that was used in the music video as well. But you get that at the end of the CD and the cassette tape. On the LP, it ends at Wake Up. On the CD and the cassette tape, you get the alternative version of You Oughta Know. And then at the end of the CD, you get a hidden track, an a cappella called Your House, where it's just Alanis Morissette singing with her beautiful mezzo-soprano voice. And this is the song where she goes to her ex's house and starts digging through all of his stuff, getting in his business, taking a shower in his bathtub, laying down in his bed, trying like physically being there to remember like the good old days of when the relationship was frivolous and was thriving. Like this is basically her confession, saying that she wants the relationship to work out, that she actually wants something to be better, but she knows that it can't possibly happen because they've already moved on. And so she finds a note that's not in her handwriting that says, I love you so, love, meet me at midnight. And it's the other woman's handwriting. And then she's like, I know it's not my writing. And then I better leave soon before you all get back home. And so she's forgiven. So in Forgiven, she's forgiven him and then gets mad at him again and head over feet. But then demands forgiveness at the very end. So essentially, from the very beginning, Alanis Morissette is just mad at her ex for the fact that things didn't work out, puts a bunch of blame on him, forgives him for some things, but not everything, basically just blames him and is just upset at him that things didn't work out and that he chose this other girl instead, that he could have supposedly been cheating on or having shenanigans with or whatever. But then at the very end, she demands forgiveness from him. And it's just like, I just want it all to work out and I'm sorry. So as far as like the concept of the album, it's pretty like, it's Alanis Morissette putting on a persona. But what I like about it is that stuff like that actually happens. And so part of the human condition is experiencing certain emotions like that. And so she's not totally in the wrong for experiencing those emotions. You know what I'm saying? So in the end, it still ends up being a great album. And then I kind of like the production and the lushness of the music itself, the way it's recorded. I like how the snare drum pops out, especially in the song. I notice it in the song Perfect. The snare drum pops out perfect. It's great. And then there's some songs where a drum machine is used, like Hand in My Pocket uses a drum machine. And then Alanis Morissette's beautiful mezzo-soprano voice is just, everything is so clear. She sings so beautifully. So at the end of the day, the content is pretty all right. I love Hand from My Pocket for its lyrical meaning and for its music. I can't. I'm good for this album. Now, usually I give a lot of albums 10 out of 10. If I had to be dead honest, I really love this album and it's on repeat and I love it. But like, because it's just a little bit mediocre, I'd say, I have to give this one a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10. But it's still really good music production, produced by Glenn Ballard. It's still really good musical production, and some of the messages and lyrical content are so well written that even if it is a little cliche, it's still a good, well put together record. And I can see why that this was probably regarded as the best album of 1995. It's a really good record, and I'm glad I finally took the chance to sit down and listen to it and discover it, because It's epic. It's really good. Anyway, that does it for episode 1. So if you've came back to the channel and watched this video, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below what your favorite song from this album is. If I had to pick 3 songs, my top 3 I think would be Hand in My Pocket, You Learn, and Ironic. I think those are my ultimate 3 from this record. Those are all really good, well put together songs. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, comment down below what your favorite songs are. Give me your top 3. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel. I'll be dropping more reviews. I'll have different playlists. I'll have a playlist that's dedicated to new music that I've discovered, and then I'll have a playlist that's dedicated to stories about old albums, unboxings and stuff. And then I'll eventually get to a Coldplay series where I'll just go one release at a time, because I've listened to everything by Coldplay, every official release, from the Safety EP to the latest version of, I forgot the song, it's like Ma Mulier Francais or something. I forgot what it was, but it was with Stromae. It was the new song Stromae released with another artist, and then Coldplay had a version where Chris Martin got on and did a verse. So I've listened to their whole entire chronology, like official chronology. I still have to go and find bootlegs of like live concerts and stuff that hasn't been released, or unreleased songs, but I'll have a series that's dedicated to breaking down everything from the Safety EP to the most recent release. And I'll be talking about my story with Coldplay. I'll be talking about the concert that I saw at Nissan Stadium in Nashville back on July 22nd of 2025. I'll be talking about my love for them a lot, because I love them. They're my favorite band. But I'll also be putting down albums that have defined my musical journey, that have gotten me up to that point, and new music that I'm continuing to discover. So thank you so much for, again, watching. And again, if you liked the video, please leave a like, comment down below what your top 3 favorite songs are from Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill, and subscribe to the channel for more music-related content. We're back, baby. I'll catch you all on the flip side. Peace.